I'm Laura Gail Locke with the City of Wichita. Coming up, we're going to tell you what makes Wichita great, what makes Wichita the aviation capital of the world, what makes Wichita a top exporter, what we did to ensure we have large enough water supply to last the next 50 years, and you'll also learn what the state of Kansas is doing to create environmentally friendly green jobs. We really hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Water touches our lives in many ways, whether it's through daily activities at home, like washing dishes, taking showers and drinking water, or in the fields, helping crops grow and nourishing livestock. But more than a decade ago, Wichita city officials realized if nothing changed, Wichita and the surrounding region would not have enough water to meet future demands.
Hello, I'm David Warren. I'm Director of Wichita's Water Utilities, and I'm here to talk to you today about our water, our future. All of us have seen in the headlines recently problems associated with water supplies throughout our United States. Cities such as Atlanta and Las Vegas are struggling with how they're going to supply water for the continued economic development of their cities and their areas. Here in Wichita, we've been involved since 1993 in the development of a project that we believe will bring water supplies to our community through the year 2050. Water is essential to our well-being.
The Aquifer Storage Recovery Project is a fancy name for a simple system to preserve our water supply. Here's how it works. When the Little Arkansas River has above normal water flow, the excess water is captured, treated, and transported into the Aquisbeds Aquifer, basically an underground storage area. The water is kept there for later use.
We have completed the first phase of the project. It has a capacity to capture and recharge up to 10 million gallons per day from the Little Arkansas River. The facilities that I'm standing at right now is part of the treatment plant that was constructed in that first phase. In the next phase of the project, we will be capturing up to 30 million gallons per day from a surface water intake on the Little Arkansas River. And then we will have to take that water and clean it up enough that we can use it for recharge.
During later phases of the project, the Wichita Water Utilities Department hopes to capture up to 100 million gallons per day and store up to 65 billion gallons of water. That's about the same amount of water as held in Cheney Reservoir. Only instead of holding it in a surface water reservoir, we're going to hold it in an underground reservoir, much bigger. It's going to cover almost 115 square miles. Takes that much space to hold that much water. But once we put the water in there, then it becomes a water supply source that we can use, plus also protecting the aquifer from saltwater contamination. Saltwater contamination is one of the reasons the ASR project is necessary. It comes from two sources: oil-filled evaporation pits used in the 1930s and the Arkansas River. And so if we can fill up that hole with this recharge project, that will help form a barrier to this saltwater contamination. That kind of technology, that approach, is used quite a bit on the coasts, California and Florida and other places like that, where they have saltwater coming in from the ocean. It's unusual that you'd think we'd be doing that same technology in Kansas in the middle of the continent, but we'd be accomplishing the same thing as forming a barrier from that saltwater contamination using fresh water that we'd be recharging with. But some of the nearby farmers and ranchers had concerns. They were worried the project would lower their water supply and contaminate it.
I think it's a project that needs to be watched as we go along very carefully to make sure it's performing like we think it should. I hope like heck it works. I hope it works. I hope it's a good project. To make sure the project works, a partnership was formed. It includes the City of Wichita, State of Kansas, Regional Area Economic Partnership of South Central Kansas, Groundwater Management District 2, Visioneering Wichita, and others.
And there has in fact come a regional interest in the project that has resulted in both state and federal dollars being put into this project to help make it a reality.
The $350 million project is funded with city, state, and federal dollars. The federal government is contributing $30 million. The state just approved $1 million and is expected to give another $7 million over the next 7 years.
As a farmer and a legislator, it's easy to see why this project is so important. The City of Wichita is going to be able to supply water for their community as well as other communities around our area. As a farmer, we're able to grow crops that supply food not only for our nation but globally as well.
The cost of the project will result in Wichita water customers paying more, but compared to the rest of the country, Wichita's rates will still rank among the lowest in the nation.
The good news for our customers is that cost, albeit very high, we can spread out over several years before we have to fully implement that cost. We can also do things with the way that we finance that project to let future generations who benefit more from the future water supply pay a heavier load on that debt.
But this project is worth the cost. In addition to preserving our water through 2050, it will reap other benefits. A key one is economic development. To attract and keep businesses in the South Central Kansas region, a sufficient water supply is necessary. Regions that don't properly manage their water supplies risk losing companies and damaging their recruiting efforts. The ASR project will give the Wichita area a competitive edge. It will help us keep and recruit jobs.
Wichita believes that this project is a win-win project for the entire region. Wichita, of course, gets a water supply to supply our needs through the year 2050, but the other users, the farmers, the ranchers, the other industrial and even municipal users in this region get the benefit.
What happens to Wichita's water supply beyond 2050 remains to be seen. But you can bet the Wichita Water Utilities Department and its partners will continue to find solutions as creative and effective as the ASR project. They will continue to remain dedicated to preserving our water, our future. Wichita, Kansas has a population of more than 366,000. Approximately 1 million live within 100 miles of Wichita. Close to 730,000 reside within 50 miles. The air capital of the world has continued to grow. Wichita's population increased by 13,942. That's a 4% increase since 2000. Wichita is home to a dozen U.S. general aviation manufacturers. 3 Kansas companies account for 52% of airplanes delivered worldwide. Sedgwick County has the second highest concentration of manufacturing jobs and skilled labor in the U.S. Manufacturing accounts for almost 22% of employment, over double the national percentage. Wichita exports accounted for 51% of the state's total, or $5.7 billion in exports. The top sectors for exports include transportation equipment, computer and electronics products, and chemicals. Wichita Metro exports grew 8% over a recent one-year period. In fact, 1 out of 15 jobs, or 6.5% of the state's total private sector employment, are supported by Kansas exports. And according to the U.S. Department of Commerce, 15,000 to 20,000 jobs are dependent upon every $1 billion in exports. Here's a look at some of the international companies operating in Kansas. Now here's a look at what the state is doing to create environmentally friendly green jobs. Major green industries with a significant presence in the state are wind, energy efficient, environmental, sustainability, biomass, geothermal, and green agriculture. Kansas is a state with an amazing wind potential that it has recently begun to seriously develop. The 2009 Kansas Green Jobs Report finds that Kansas had 20,047 primary green jobs and 26,380 support green jobs in 2009. The largest percentage of primary green jobs was in the core green-related area of increasing energy efficiency of about 52%. Another 19% of Kansas's green jobs were in agriculture and natural resource conservation, 16.4% were in pollution prevention and environmental cleanup, and 7.1% were in producing renewable energy. Around 4.4% of primary green jobs were in the core green-related area of clean transportation and fuels. The report goes on to find that the 4 industries with the largest numbers of primary green jobs were specialty trade contractors, construction of buildings, administrative and support services, and professional, scientific, and technical services. In addition, the 5 occupations with the largest numbers of primary green jobs were carpenters, heating, air conditioning and refrigeration, mechanics and installers, construction laborers, landscaping and groundskeeping workers, and assemblers and fabricators. Kansas had 20,047 primary green jobs in 2009. This is projected to increase to 30,236 primary green jobs by 2012, according to surveyed employers' expectations of the next 2 to 3 years. Employers projected the largest 2 to 3 year increase to be in the core area of renewable energy. Kansas has the third most promising wind resource potential in the country and is one of the top 10 states in installed wind capacity. In the period 2008 through 2009, Kansas's wind industry more than doubled, adding over 600 megawatts of wind energy. Kansas attracted its first major wind energy manufacturing facility in the second quarter of 2009, when turbine manufacturer Siemens announced its first American nacelle assembly facility in Hutchinson, Kansas. Siemens invested $50 million in its new facility, which opened in November of 2010 and now employs 400 workers. The effects of its investment will be felt throughout the Kansas supply chain, allowing an ever-increasing number of Kansas firms to participate in the wind energy industry. Kansas is also home to multiple bioethanol plants and is ranked 8th in the nation in bioethanol production. The nation's first commercial-scale hybrid cellulosic ethanol facility and traditional grain ethanol plant is being developed in Hugoton. A $550 million facility which would produce 100 million gallons of ethanol annually using corn stover, wheat straw, and switchgrass as feedstock. The project is currently applying for a federal loan guarantee for support and is expected to become operational in 2013. Thanks again for taking the time to hear about what makes Wichita so great. If you'd like to learn more, we encourage you to go online and visit the City of Wichita website at wichita.gov.